This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
And welcome to the Monday Night Raw review on this July 29th, 2025. With SummerSlam looming just a couple of days away, we've got some big items to talk about tonight with Monday Night Raw. Kind of a ho-hum version, I gotta be honest, for a go-home version of the show to get us ready for SummerSlam. Certainly they're positioning Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed as absolute monsters. And I guess be careful what you wish for, because this is what I and others have been advocating for, that they need to make them look like monsters. They need more momentum. They can't lose matches. They need to look dominant. And boy, did we get that last night on Raw. Because Roman Reigns got destroyed. Jey Uso got destroyed. Speared. Double speared. Over the announce table. Tsunami'd. They got demolished. And that's what you need. Every show doesn't need to be about sending the fans home happy. That should not be the objective. The objective should be to advance a story that you're trying to tell. And we needed that. We needed some heat on heels. And we're getting it. And it makes you want to see Roman Reigns. It makes you want to tune into SummerSlam to see Roman Reigns and Jey Uso exact their revenge. That's the point. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the women's segments with Kairi Sane in action, Roxanne Perez in action, Asuka in action, among others, and Piper Niven, and a really bad segment for Lyra, who is just, at this point, can we cut our losses with her and Becky? I'm not saying her career, just with Becky and Lyra doing the little dance she did. God almighty, stop the pain. Right now, it kind of reminded me of a Suffering Succotash version of the Roman Reigns edition that we saw about 10 years ago for Lyra. Not a good moment for Lyra. She had some momentum, continues to have some momentum, but it has been stalled in a big way. Despite the fact that her and Becky Lynch have put on some good matches, this has gone about a month too long, and the chemistry has seemingly fizzled out. And maybe more accurately, the fans' interest has fizzled out. But to be fair, the promos have been very lackluster, not particularly exciting. And so the content that they're given to give us the match and get us excited for it has not been great. So we'll talk about that too in a little more detail. But first, I want to welcome you to the show. If you haven't joined us before, this is the unofficial WWE podcast. We are here nearly every single day, whether it's a retro show, whether it's our new kind of just quick hitting animated videos that we're doing with the posting on YouTube and posting on Patreon. We just did one on Hulk Hogan and some untold stories. We just recently in the last couple of hours posted one about The Rock's potential return to SummerSlam and the latest news on that. That's via video form on Patreon or YouTube. Subscribe to us. And also, if you want some creepy stories, head on over to the YouTube channel called Real Eerie Truth. All right, we do some real, true stories about really everything. Crazy, true stories, and touch on all the taboo topics, real near-death experiences, and what people see when they nearly die, and all that kind of stuff. Pretty neat. And I'm learning a lot just by posting the videos up, because a lot of these stories, I'm just they freak me out, and I'm the one posting them. So check it out, Real Eerie Truth, if you want to join us there too. Now, as far as SummerSlam goes, guys, will be traveling on Friday, but that doesn't mean that we can't still have a little fun and get our predictions out earlier, which we will either by tomorrow or Thursday at the latest. So that will be available to you in the near future. So if you want to get your predictions in, by the way, do them sooner than later. I'll read them on air if you want me to and get your thoughts and predictions. So I may be doing the mailbag a bit early. Heads up, everybody. If you want to get on the mailbag or call us and leave a voicemail, I'll put you on the show Real WWE Podcast at gmail.com. All right, so let's get to it. Monday Night Raw, and it was opened with the wrestlers on stage and another 10-bell salute. This time, Nick Hogan. Well, I guess Hulk Hogan's son Nick, his wife, and Eric Bischoff were there. Really tough to see them, but nice to see them there in a way. They were visibly still distraught, and why wouldn't they be? It's just, it's tough to see. Paul Levesque had a 10-bell salute to Hogan, which was just essentially it was the exact same thing that he did on SmackDown, just recorded with the stumble over his words and all there. And they had another Hulk Hogan video package air, and it was cool and still emotional, still kind of unreal that Hulk Hogan's dead. I mean, 71 is not old by today's standards, but you have to believe that steroid use did not help his heart health. You know, it's just a fact. But yeah, so, and before I get going, there's a lot of talk now about the WWE Unreal series that they released, about the creative process, and you get a backstage look, a kind of a fly on the wall look into the creative process, into the discussions that go on between all of the executives and Triple H and the writing staff. And it is, I saw some clips of it, you know, I did see some clips, and it's pretty much exactly what you think. I mean, how do you think these things are run? They're sitting in a conference room discussing potential stories, which I have to say is it's interesting to see where they might have gone and they didn't. But also, aren't you giving away potential future stories by doing this? Because the things that you didn't use this year, you might use next year. This is very bizarre. I have to say, I know that they're doing this to get interest and get people talking, and oh my God, no one's ever done this. But it was, to me, the last frontier of the mystery of pro wrestling. Like, we all know what it is. We all know it's a work. We all know how it works. We all know there's discussions and meetings and Zoom meetings and in-person meetings and creative and production. We all know that. We all know how that all works. But we just didn't have the eyes and ears into the actual conversations. So that's the last piece. I mean, I don't know why they have this fascination of letting the fans in so much. They don't see the drawbacks of it. But you also have to remember, they aren't being filmed 24/7. They obviously know when they're being filmed, so you are being able to only see what they want you to see. They aren't hearing, and you aren't hearing, the conversations and the discussions that they don't want you to hear. So it's not exactly a candid look into the conversations, but I mean, it is still, it's interesting to see, but I particularly wish they didn't do this. Yeah, I want some mystery left. Just leave a little mystery. Leave a little bit. And the card for WrestleMania last year is floating around. Go take a look at what they were proposing for WrestleMania last year. To me, was much better than what was actually produced. It was like Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins one-on-one, which I had been proposing. It was Nia Jax versus, is it Rhea Ripley one-on-one? No, those are just two off the top of my head. It just looked way better. And obviously we got what we got. And there was one funny suggestion, if you haven't seen it making the rounds, which I think would be fun, but not still the right call for the Royal Rumble. And that is, there was a pitch in one of the meetings from, I don't know if he was one of the head writers. I don't know who he was. Anyway, he proposed that the last two women of the Royal Rumble double eliminated each other, and there's still one entrant left at number 30, and it's Chelsea Green, and she wins by default. That actually is a hell of a creative way for someone to win the Royal Rumble. But do you want somebody to win the Royal Rumble that way? It's the Royal Rumble. There's still some respect, and there's still some value to that victory. It still means something. And for someone to just happenstance into it, it is a very Chelsea Greenish way to win something, and would be funny, and the crowd would love it. But again, the drawback would be, hey, you're kind of devaluing this by the way she won? No. because then she has to get a title shot at WrestleMania. Hey, it was a pretty creative pitch, pun intended. But watch it with your own discretion if you want a little mystery left in the process of WWE and how they come up with stuff and what their potential storylines would have been, could have been, should have been, might be. Then it's an interesting look, but it's not going to be anything that you're like, oh my God, that's how they do it. Well, you already know how it's done. They have discussions in a boardroom, and it's exactly what you're imagining. One last thing I'll say on that, and then I will dive into Monday Night Raw after the Hulk Hogan tribute. There's a lot of negativity going around about a screenshot of one of the meetings, one of the episodes where there's a look into the boardroom and the members, the people that are there with the writing team and Triple H and all the rest of this crew, which is about, 15 people in the room, maybe. And there's negativity in the fact that all of these people are white. And there's some comments about how, this explains a lot and all this garbage, all this race baiting bull, you know what, right? Like it is what it is in today's culture. But it's funny how when things are going great, the people that you're demonizing for the color of their skin don't get credit. But when there's a storyline that you don't particularly like and want to criticize, then they get all the blame and none of the credit. Right? For the simple, level of, level of melanin in their skin. Like that's apparently what dictates if somebody gets credit or not. It's kind of sad, right? I mean, here's the thing. I don't want anybody on that board in that room that doesn't deserve to be there. I don't care what your skin color is. That's my take. I really, you're there on merit. You're there on your ideas. You're there on your successes, the value you bring to the company. And the value you bring to any company, not just WWE, is based on your skill set, based on your results. Okay? That's it. Period. End of story. It ends there. It's as simple as that. But people today want to make it, of course, about race to make themselves victims or whatever their agenda is. So, and I had a lot of people, mad at me too about the Hulk Hogan tribute I did on my show. And I really, to be honest, I don't take a single word back. This is not about Terry Bollea and his comments. This is about Hulk Hogan. And if you can't separate the two, that's your problem. Like Terry Bollea and obviously had a lot of flaws as a man. What person doesn't have flaws? But if you can't separate the contributions of someone and the personal life of someone, then, there's going to be no one to give credit for because everyone has their faults. Everyone has their demons, right? They're things they wish they could take back. We all do. But okay, let's get into it. Let's dive more into Raw after that Hulk Hogan tribute. We had Corey Graves on commentary, which again, I'm enjoying. Jey Uso comes out and Alicia Taylor was introducing him. And before Jey could speak, which is probably for the best because Jey is not a good talker, Paul Heyman interrupts. And this went on just too long. I had to say, I like Paul Heyman, but I don't know the purpose of this whole thing here. It was just felt like it was filling time. And we had Heyman enter the ring, and he wanted to speak to Jey about family. And he said he could not believe that Jey was teaming with Roman Reigns in the name of the family. And Heyman said that as the Oracle, that was not a prediction. It was a prophecy that family will always let you down. Heyman asked if Jey's mother told him when he was a kid that Santa Claus left presents under the tree. And Heyman said Santa did not do that. And Jey's mother lied to him and tried to insult him, basically, and just insult the family. He then brought up Rikishi, Jey's father, and he said that if your father Rikishi told you that he wanted you to be bigger than he ever was, he lied to you. Roman Reigns lied to you. This was, I don't know. So anyway, Heyman saying it was out of anger or malice because Jey Uso, I love you, and then Jey took issue with Heyman speaking about his family. and asked where Heyman's family is. And Jey said Heyman screwed over his family at WrestleMania and his boys screwed him out of his championship and that they were going to run it back. And that's all they got. I mean, less is more for Jey. I mean, we have been shown Jey is not a great promo, so less is more with Jey. It's about the energy and the yeet and the merch for Jey and less about the promos. But this was not I don't understand the meaning of this. It felt very much like filler. That's a very weird thing to say with a Heyman segment, but it is what it is. Okay, so then we have AJ Styles come out. He teams with the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi and Asuka, to take on Dominic and Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez in a mixed tag team match. And this match went 10 minutes and 40 seconds with AJ and the Kabuki Warriors getting the victory over Dom, Raquel, and Roxanne. And the way they got that was Sane isolated by the heels until she finally tagged AJ, who ran over, pulled Dom into the ring. Styles hit Dom with I'm trying to pronounce this word, Ushigoroshi, I think it's maybe. Styles launched Sane over the top rope onto Rodriguez onto the floor, and then Styles followed it up with a phenomenal forearm on Dom to get the victory. Fine. I mean, this is just fine. The Kabuki Warriors, I should say, got the victory, and they need some kind of victory here that they can stand on, even if it is with AJ Styles, because they haven't won as a team since they quote-unquote reunited several weeks back. So they need something to continue here, and a mixed tag team match, those are fine. I don't mind mixed tag team matches, but we all know the golden rule that the men can't touch the women, even if the women verbally try to attack the men, because they're women, right? So there's that magical aura, that shield that surrounds them that the men cannot permeate. So there was a little bit of that, but it was fine. It was fine. 10 minutes, nearly 11 minutes. And seeing AJ Styles still wrestle at his level is kind of cool. I do wonder what they're going to do with AJ Styles. I know that the Intercontinental Championship is a bit of a focus, kind of a side focus in his peripheral vision to take down Dom. It doesn't seem to be his focus. For some reason, it feels like AJ is floating around. He'll come out to the ring. He's always really good. He still can go nearly at the level he's always been able to. But then when it comes to actually having a focus for AJ, what's he going to do? Where's he going? He's got the Intercontinental title shot, but it's like, well, he's not going to really win it. So AJ's, I don't know if I'd label him a lost soul yet, but he needs a more solidified direction. No doubt about it. So Sheamus takes on Grayson Waller next. And match was super fast. 4 minutes and 10 seconds here with Rusev appearing on the apron. Sheamus knocks off Rusev, and then Waller rolled up Sheamus for 2. And Sheamus ducked the clothesline and then hit Waller with a brogue kick, which just landed in his chest, not his face, but it's okay. Sheamus then beats Waller in 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and then Rusev attacks Sheamus with a shillelagh a dozen times, puts him in the accolade. Referees try to get rid of him, and they eventually did pull Rusev off of Sheamus. So this rivalry between Sheamus and Rusev, not over. I thought there was a chance. Thought perhaps they were going a different direction after Sheamus did beat Rusev, and that's not the case. There's more to come. These two cannot untangle each other from one another. They can't. They are destined to either be partners or enemies forever. And a part of me is bored by this, but also they are so good together that I understand why they are together, if that makes sense. Like, I'm bored by it until they start fighting. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why they're still together. That's why they're still doing a storyline. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic with Sheamus and Rusev, with so much history, too, between them over the last decade. So we then had Naomi interviewed backstage by Jackie Redmond about her SummerSlam match against Rhea and Io. Naomi said the 8-woman tag team match would be a cautionary tale. She said it didn't matter whether they send the past, present, or future at her because she'll take them all on. Good promo. Solid. Still love this Naomi version of her. I mean, she's found herself. And I hope that this run continues for quite some time for Naomi. You could even make an argument that Naomi should keep the belt through WrestleMania. I know that feels like a lifetime away. In a lot of ways it is. A lot can change. I don't think they'll hold the belt on her that long, but you can make a case for it. She's a veteran. She's found herself. She feels confident on the mic. She doesn't feel like she's a one-trick pony with just glow, 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 and then you guys know I can glow. Instead, she's very much a deeper character. She's a darker character. She's tapped into something that we haven't seen before, and she's very good in the ring. So I don't think there's any reason at this point, at least in the next 3 months, to take the belt off of her. And again, I could argue through WrestleMania if you really want to have a run with her. Okay, Lyra. Oh boy, she was shown walking backstage. Then we had Cole set up a sneak peek of the Unreal docuseries, which is just horrible. It's just horrible. You're advertising a show that undermines the show that you're watching. And I don't want to hear that we all know it's not real. Of course. But do you have these interruptions in the middle of movies? Of course you don't. It's like, hey guys, we're going to take an intermission. While we're doing that, do you guys want to see a preview of how this movie was actually made while you're in the middle of the story? Wouldn't that be cool? Have they forgotten how human beings work? Or are they just so self-obsessed with making sure that they are getting as many people to watch their stuff as possible that they don't care if they self-sabotage in the short term? Or rather, self-sabotage in the long term for short-term gains, more accurately. So then we have the second hour of Raw here with Heyman telling Bronson backstage that he's heard Jey Uso's family say that with Seth Rollins out there, just a group without a leader. Bron Breakker entered the picture and said, "You've got this, we've got this." Reed said they would leave Jey and any member of his own family down, out, tsunami'd. And Breakker responded by telling Heyman they had a plan. It's good that they're acknowledging Seth's absence still. It does feel like it's been a year since Seth's been in the ring. It feels really long this time. While I have said every day that goes by that we hear no news, it puts it in the, it makes more of a case for the fact that this may be a work. I'm still, believe it or not, of the belief this is real, but my confidence is fading quickly. Can anyone within the sound of my voice name another injury to a star of Seth's magnitude in which we did not get a diagnosis and or timetable for a return this far out from the injury, quote unquote, actually occurring? Has there ever been a time? I cannot recall in 30 years of watching pro wrestling. I don't think there has been. So I mark this in the column of sus, as the kids would say. Very sus. And I'm not quite ready to come over to the side. I'm looking over the ledge there. Okay. I'm peering over the ledge of those of you that are in the camp that this is a work. I'm peering. You can see my eyeballs peering over the fence. I'm not quite ready to climb the ladder and join you, but I'm going into the garage to get the ladder. Okay. I'm on my way to get the ladder and potentially set it up and join you, but I'm not quite there yet. Weird analogy, but that's where my brain went. Okay, so then we get Lyra Valkyria coming out. She showed off the big shoes she was wearing and said they were her Becky Lynch stompers. What? Horrible. The crowd didn't care. What? Did she watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? Was she just watching the Disney Channel? Where would you even get a line like that? What is she talking about? Lyra, good Lord, this is your suffer and succotash moment. So Lyra said that she would either become the first two-time women's Intercontinental Champion, or she would not be allowed to challenge for the title again while Lynch is champion, which I hope is the case. I really hope that's the case. I need Lyra to lose here. Valkyria said some fans may think she's playing into Lynch's hands, but she's seen all of Lynch's matches and she knows what she's capable of, but Lynch doesn't know what she's capable of. I mean, it's a fine line there. Slight rebound in your promo. Becky Lynch comes out, except she didn't after her music played. Valkyria ran the ropes and kicked Lynch through them after Lynch tried to do a sneak attack. And then Lynch was holding a kendo stick. Eventually they fought inside the ring. Valkyria set up for Nightwing and escaped. Lynch did get several whackings with that kendo stick, which did sound pretty brutal. And so that's fine. You know, again, this program needs to be over. Lyra needs to take her stompers off her feet and pretend that never happened. And hopefully Lyra loses. Lyra needs to lose. I would put a lot of money on Lyra losing here because Lyra needs to move the hell on. And Becky Lynch also needs a new opponent. Becky Lynch at this point is also being a little bit pushed aside. Even though she's the Women's Intercontinental Champion, she's not particularly interesting right now either. These two have become a bit less for wear for one another. In other words, I think that they're both ready to move on from one another. And I need Lyra to lose. Albeit, I'm sure it'll be a great match. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. They are both highly talented women. And this should be the best match of their series. I mean, now that this will be their third match in front of a large audience, logic would dictate that this is going to be a better match because they've had more experience. But it also depends on how much time they're given to. So we have Sami Zayn being interviewed earlier in the day by Corey Graves with his match against Karrion Kross. And Zayn said he would put an end to everything with Kross at SummerSlam. And Kross and Scarlett show up and asked Zayn about his injured ribs. Graves made his exit, and then Kross and Scarlett sat down across from Sami. And Kross said that after he beat Zayn, he wants Zayn to say the words "Kross told the truth," and then he'll move on. Kross and Scarlett gave Zayn the pipe that Kross had beaten him with, while Kross and Zayn, or said Zayn, is no better than him. And Sami said he would never say whatever Kross wants if he beats him at WrestleMania. But Zayn said that when he wins, he expects Kross to say he was wrong. So the whole thing is built on you just have to admit who's right and wrong. That's it. I'm sorry to break it down to an elementary level, but that's essentially what they're fighting for is if I win, you have to say I'm right. And if you win, I'm still not going to say you're right. Yeah, but it's like, okay. These two are capable of more than this. But hey, it's a personal issue with no title on the line. It's good enough for me because Karrion Kross is getting another chance to shine. And hopefully it's better than his previous match. And Sami Zayn also gets to tell the story of redemption. I mean, he's the ultimate underdog and always still feels like one, even though at this point, should we really believe that Sami's an underdog for everything, just all the time by default? I don't think so. But it should be a fun match. Okay. We then have the third match of the night, which, by the way, Bayley was interviewed, and what did she say? She said she lost her opportunity at the Intercontinental and Tag titles and said she's missed out on WrestleMania and now is in book for SummerSlam and said she's at a loss for words for the first time in her career and she walked away. So Bayley, a bit disheveled, a bit dejected. Where does that leave her? I hope it doesn't mean another heel turn. I really don't know what this means for Bayley. Typically this would point to a heel turn, but we've been there, done that. I really don't know. Does she resurrect the Bayley buddies? Tape them back together? I don't know. So it's interesting. It's a fun little crossroads for her character because it feels like they've kind of done everything they can do with Bayley. We've seen her be the jerk. We've seen her be the innocent, naive, young NXT upstart. We've seen her be kind of everything in between. I don't know what this will do for her character. And I'm interested to see because I literally am out of ideas for her character, not for her matchups. I mean, she can work with anybody. But for her character, I don't know what this means. Okay, moving on. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Stephanie McCool. Oh, and Nikki Bella. You talk about which one is not like the others. Oh, Nikki Bella, why? Why are you here? Go away. I understand. Look, her daughter, right? I heard the story that she's wrestling because she wants her daughter to see. I can appreciate that. And I don't mean that in a jerk way. I can. I understand it. I'm a father. Anybody that's a parent, even if you're not, you can probably understand it. You know, you want to be able to show your kids what you do. And I can understand that. But if you remove that from the equation for, you know, the entire rest of your viewing audience that's not and did not come from your birth canal, we don't really have a vested interest in the Nikki Bella character anymore. Okay? We just don't. She feels out of place. She's not a trailblazer. She never has been a trailblazer. She can, in her own mind, pretend that she was one. We can have Kairi Sane on air insanely just proclaim that she was one. She's not, never has been. She's a bit high on her own supply, but if she's doing it for the sole purpose of her daughter, then I truly understand it. But can we just be one and done with that and just have Nikki Bella go back to her podcast and complain about men and complain about the patriarchy and complain about whatever she does, right? The ignorant men. Have her go whine and cry over there, okay? I don't need you on my screen anymore pretending that you were some big deal for women's pro wrestling. I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that had you and your sister never stepped foot into a wrestling ring, that women's wrestling would not have been any worse off. I can guarantee that. Okay, can you tell? Can you tell I know I'm being a bit obscure, a bit obtuse. There's another word I haven't used. About how I feel about Nikki and her contributions and her attitude and who she really feels like as a person. But I don't know, maybe you can read between the lines. So anyway, they took on Naomi, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and Alba Fire. And this match, it was fun. I actually enjoyed this. It went 15 minutes almost with Rhea, Io, Stephanie, and Nikki getting the victory. And, you don't see too many women's eight women's tag team matches, 8-person tag team matches. That is it's a rarity on Raw. But the finish was Rhea headbutting Niven and putting her down with the Riptide finish, which was cool to see. The fans really popped for when Rhea and Niven went face to face. Green then slapped Ripley and got scared when Ripley fired up. Chelsea turned and ran, got a kick from Vakur rather, and followed up with SVB and got the victory. Again, the ending was a little bit flat because I think people wanted to see Rhea get the victory and not Stephanie, but you're trying to build new stars and trying to establish new finishers that maybe a lot of the fans haven't seen yet. So I completely agree with how the finish was done. It's just the crowd didn't react in kind. But it was fine. You got the victory. These 4 women outside of Nikki are still the future of the company, I think, in a lot of ways. And still, it was a fun match. Crowd was into it. So then we had, let's see here, some backstage stuff with Dom and Raquel and Roxanne looking gloomy, and Balor gave them a pep talk as he just does every week. And he offered to accompany Balor and McDonough, but Balor told him to stay backstage and play video games. And Rodriguez said Liv Morgan also likes playing the game. I miss Liv Morgan. She was the heart and soul of that group. And it feels like the Judgment Day just don't exist anymore. They've been around for, how many years? A couple of years now. Edge originally formed them. They turned on Edge, brought Rhea Ripley in, which changed the trajectory of her entire career. And then you had Liv Morgan come in, destroy Rhea Ripley in every imaginable way, emotionally, physically, take her title. And she felt like the heart and soul of that group. And then she gets injured, and it feels like they're just a shell of what they were. I really, really want Liv Morgan back. Okay. So then we get Finn Balor and JD McDonough taking on Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro for the World Tag Team titles. Really, really fun here. Fun match, despite the fact that it was a little bit short, but 11 minutes long, and Finn and JD end up defeating Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro to retain the World Tag Team titles. The finish was Cruz del Toro going up top. A masked man came out and tripped del Toro, which a lot of people are thinking is it could be Chad Gable, but I think Chad Gable's still injured, although I have to get an injury report on him. Cole said the second masked man was about a foot shorter. That was kind of the clue that it's probably Chad. So he pointed out the fact that Americana was shorter. Balor hit the coup de grace on Toro and got the victory. So they retain the tag titles, which is fine. I mean, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro right now still haven't endeared themselves from a personality perspective, a promo perspective to the wider audience. They are in the category, as so many have been before, of a great team in the ring that we know nothing about. We'll cheer for you because you're really good in the ring and you're fun to watch, but we have no true emotional connection to you, and that's going to be dangerous. They need to do a little bit of something with these two. Video packages can do wonders. Think about it, WWE. So, let's see here. We then have Gunther come out, and he patted himself on the back for going head-to-head on the mic with the best in the world, which he really didn't, because Punk said nothing last week. It was not CM Punk last week. It was a hologram. But Gunther said he left the voice of the voiceless speechless last week, and Gunther said it might be true that he tapped out, but he wouldn't run out of things to say about CM Punk. Gunther said he made Punk shut the hell up last week. Punk comes out, and he said Gunther didn't leave him speechless, but it dawned on him while standing across from someone as great as Gunther that he doesn't want to be World Heavyweight Champion. He doesn't want to. He needs to. He needs it like he needs air in his lungs. He needs it like he needs his heart to pump blood through his veins, which actually, by the way, the veins don't pump from the heart. They pump to the heart, if we really want to get technical. I know you guys are rolling your eyes like, geez, oh my God. But I mean, your heart pumps through, your arteries. Your veins return the blood to your heart, but whatever. I am just being a jerk tonight. So Punk said he needed to be world champion this did not land at all. Like a Midwest dad needs an old style beer, I think is what he was saying, while mowing the lawn on a hot summer day. Oddly specific. Okay. Very oddly specific. But given that they were in Detroit, Michigan, I guess he was trying to land the idea that we're somehow in farm country, and which is not the case in Detroit. Didn't land, but I give him credit for trying here. He's trying to meet the fans where they are, trying to be relatable, and that didn't work. But good try, Punk. So Gunther tried to tell Punk to shut up. It didn't work, and Punk said to Gunther, there are levels to this kid, and he said Gunther would learn that he's not on his level as great as he is. He would leave SummerSlam as world champion, and that at least Gunther would be able to know what it's like to be in the ring with him. And that's it. So decent promo. I say better than last week, but still not blow away. It was fine. It's about what you'd think you'd get. Maybe we're holding Punk's promos to such high standards that it's inachievable. Every single time you think he's just going to drop the biggest pipe bomb. It doesn't happen. He's not MJF. Okay. Who I consider the greatest talker that is currently alive today. It's not that. And maybe I should get that out of my head that every single time I see Punk with a mic, it's going to be it's going to be some crazy thing he says, and it's going to be a heartfelt promo, or it's going to be a drop the mic type of promo. And I think those standards need to be removed every single time we see Punk. It's not a fair expectation. Nobody can actually meet that expectation of being a A+ promo every single time. Can't. I don't care who you are. Okay, so what else? We then have Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed, where Jey Uso beats Reed by DQ in 6 minutes and 20 seconds, because that's simply because Bron Breakker runs out, spears Jey at ringside. Roman Reigns comes out, stops them from continuing their attack on Jey. Reigns and Jey clear the ring, and they went opposite ways, but Breakker speared Reigns, and that's where everything changed. Reed held Jey while Breakker speared him. Reed followed with a tsunami on Jey. Breakker looked down at Reigns. He went to the apron and hit his diving clothesline on Reigns. He hoisted him up on his shoulders, dumped him inside the ring. Tsunami. I mean, it was just total destruction. Total destruction. And it was, as I mentioned, to open the show, that's what you're looking for. You need fans to somehow and sometimes leave a show pissed off. Not in the way that makes you go, that show was terrible. In the way that's like, oh man, I wanted to see so-and-so hit their finish. I wanted the good guys to prevail. That's the idea. That's what keeps them hooked. You don't need to deliver that every single show. I know that everyone that goes to every live event feels that they're special and that they should get the best possible show with the biggest moments and the biggest returns. We all feel that way as entitled, spoiled, brat wrestling fans when we go to a wrestling show. I get it. I understand. It's an innate feeling that we all have when we go to these shows, that we expect the best of the best, and this person should return in our hometown. Yeah, 95% of us don't experience that. We get usually a run-of-the-mill show, big returns, big surprises, big moments that are, locked into the annals of time of wrestling. The vast, vast majority of us are not in attendance for. So I'm not trying to burst everyone's bubble, but I've been to enough wrestling events, and I'm sure if you are listening to this, you have too, where, look, anger can be a very valuable tool as a wrestling fan. And I think at times the wrestling promotions, not just WWE, but just more broadly, forget the fact that anger is an excellent motivator to have people coming back to watch your show. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's not. For the reasons I just mentioned, you want to see the heels get their ass kicked for what they did. You want to see the babyface overcome. Good versus evil. It truly is that basic. It'll never change. People can make fun of how basic it is, but that's how almost every single entertainment show, TV show, you go to your local theater, good versus evil. That is the basis of human existence. And it works every time in art. All right. Well, not every time it's presented, or how it's presented, of course, can change with faces and storylines, but at its core, it's always good versus evil. And seeing evil prevail in the battle but lose the war is a tried and true strategy. So, an excellent night for Heyman and Reed, who really are establishing themselves as monsters. Still up in the air about Seth Rollins. A decent go-home show. Nothing blow away. But now here we are. One more show to go with SmackDown. We'll see what they do there. John Cena is scheduled to appear, I believe. So we'll see if we get the real John Cena, any hints of him giving up this whole heel run, or if they're just going to trudge along with him as the heel, and we're just going to all have to, at this point, grin and bear it and get through the rest of his appearances, which I think are only like 10, 12 appearances, something like that. So not a lot of time. Not a lot of time. I would highly advise that if you are in the area within a 100-mile radius, if you can afford it and you have the time, go see John Cena if you have the ability to on one of his dates, because you will never have that opportunity again. I believe John when he says he's done. I believe that. I don't even think, as he said, he's going to come back to do any in-ring action at all. Doesn't mean he's not going to have a Hall of Fame moment, or he's going to, after he's inducted, he's going to come out at WrestleMania and do his song and sprint into the ring and all the rest. Of course he will. He'll be back to do those kinds of things, but in ring, I don't think he's going to even do what Austin and Taker and The Rock have done over the years and come back and just hit your greatest, have a greatest hits night where you hit a stunner or a rock bottom, and there's no match or storyline there. It's just for the moment to have that fun interaction with the fans. I don't even think John will do that. It sounds like he's not even interested in doing that. So, highly advise, if you have the opportunity, go and see him. So, alrighty. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back shortly. Probably in the next day or two with your predictions for SummerSlam and a lot of matches to get through there because the matches, there's 2 nights. For the first time ever, 2 nights of SummerSlam, and we'll go through them. Again, if you want to head on over to Patreon and join us for an ad-free experience, great time to do so at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Please subscribe to us on YouTube as we're posting videos now. We've posted 3, 4 videos, 5 videos maybe over the last several days about topics going on in wrestling. Kind of a new platform that I'm using to put out content, and I'm also putting that on Patreon as well. So if you just want to have everything in one place, another reason to go Patreon. And it's also a good place because you have your Discord if you want to chat with other wrestling fans. So thank you, everybody, and we will talk soon. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.